Well, let's do it.
Hey, we're rolling.
Blacklist.
Go ahead, Trev.
Yeah, do the thing.
We're rolling? What?
Yep. Bring us in.
We're rolling?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Are we? What?
We're live, baby.
We're ready to ferment some fiction.
You told me to do the thing. This is the thing that I'm doing.
Oh, good.
What thing are you doing here? You're doing a bit
Hello,
like...
fermented folks. How are ya? Maybe I'll do it. I'll do this whole episode in a Midwest accent. Don't you know?
Why?
We
Why are you doing that? Stop that.
Travis and Clayton from Wholesome, yeah.
Do that.
We hail from the north part of Montana, close to the Canadian borders, which is not Midwest, but it's close enough. Anyway, yeah. Hi,
It might as well be.
welcome to the show. You come here every week, and I don't know why.
Yeah, that makes four of us.
Today we are talking about The Owl House, a Disney animated series that is fantasy.
Yeah.
But before we do that, we are going to give a few life updates. Clayton, my brother, what you got going in your life there?
I apologize to anybody who's from the Midwest and actually has a Midwest accent for this abomination that you're being forced to listen to on the show right now.
Yeah, we apologize that you sound like that.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy, for clearing that up.
Yeah.
If I wasn't transparent, I meant I apologize for you that Travis is nailing this accent so much and that this is what you all actually talk about. It's really too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go Birds.
Go birds.
Moving on. Okay, my update. So the second book of the Crevasse series, that's my novella. It's over there somewhere.
Yeah, it's,
There it is.
yeah, look at that.
I am on book 2 in that series. It is another novella. I'm doing 3 novellas. And today I got my notes back from my developmental editor. So I'm starting the second pass. And that's really exciting. It's my favorite pass, the second developmental edit, where you really start to get to put the puzzle together and kind of have everything written but not finalized. And you get to just polish the language, and it gets a lot more like creating things or a lot less creating things out of thin air, and you get to move more into further developing the themes and the plot and the characters and the dialogue. So I'm really excited to get started, and it's cool to have the book moving forward. That's what I got.
All right. Right on. I'm ready to read the book. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
I want to do that. I keep not having a whole lot of life updates. Recently started meal prepping.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I used to always think it was only for like weight room bros and like chicken and broccoli every day. No, like you can get pretty creative with meal prep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, dog.
So I made some moose stew along with some chicken fajita like mix that I put in a rice bowl. I did a chicken fajita omelet one day.
All right.
And I did just a normal chicken fajita like taco. And yeah, this week we got Cajun chicken Parmesan pasta. So
Nice.
Sweet.
just crazy over here.
Oh, yeah.
Meal prep is the way to go, dude. Deanna meal preps every week, and it is the best thing of all time. I mean, she makes like 3 to 4 awesome dishes that can be used in multiple ways.
Oh, yeah. You want to level up your meal prepping game. You can go get Sam the Cooking Guy's recipes with intentional leftovers.
Oh.
You make some, or just watch his YouTube channel.
here's the thing.
Hold on, Collin. We'll reveal you. No, go away.
Oh,
We'll
there
reveal
it
you.
is. That's
Ruining the big reveal. Come on. You could have waited till you had your thing, you know? And
I can put it away.
spoiler alerts.
can put it away.
Are we recording?
Oh yeah, we are.
I started doing
We'll just cut it and bring it in later.
Forget about what you just saw. I started meal prep.
Yeah.
I've been working very
That's
late.
it.
Like I work till like 7 or 9 for my job. And you guys are really distracting.
Sorry.
It's hard to be in Savannah here.
You're working.
Hey, you're working.
I can't do it. Colin's over here trying to put headphones under his fedora, and it's
So
distracting to me too, bro.
yeah, he's
I'll get home.
in the
And
mood.
I want to cook. No, I
Yeah.
get home at like 7:30 p.m. and I'm like, I don't want to cook.
Me either.
But I already cooked for myself Sunday night, which is
Oh,
Boom. Chopped.
That's it.
Boom. Ready to go.
slick.
All right, next session.
Yeah.
Segment. We got forced enrollment, and we call it that because one of us is going to get forced to troll. And we determine who that's going to be by rolling these dice. Low dice has to be the troll, has to attack today Owl House, whether they like Owl House or not. High roll defends Owl House, whether they like it or not.
And we don't like trolls. We hate trolls.
Yeah.
So we
Is that our official stance?
We're trollists.
Trollists. I think troll. I don't know.
So much trollism.
I think we're all kind of trolls in a way too. That's kind of what our whole show does.
A bit.
Yeah.
A bit.
We're literally gonna do it right now.
That's
Let's.
Pedro.
Pedro appreciates it.
Yeah.
Though, like,
He
please.
sees the subtle nuance with which we depict the whole.
I rolled my dice already.
Thank you, Pedro.
That's like, bro.
This one's for you, Pedro. Blow my dice, please.
I rolled already on a map.
Thank you, Pedro.
Thank you, Pedro.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
That ain't very good.
What'd you get?
7.
15.
Hey.
Dang.
My God.
My God.
Oh,
That's
it's
3.
not gonna go.
Yeah, you're on fire. 3 in a row.
Dang.
Streak.
No, not 3 in a row. Just 3 total.
Oh, 3 total. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we ready?
Yeah. Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. Okay, let's do this. You're psyched. You're ready. We want some magical mayhem. In 3, 2, 1, go.
I mean, it's pretty, easy to defend the Owl House. It's a heartfelt fantasy series made for kids that's about being a little weird and embracing it in a world that is also freaking weird. And like, what a great message, you know? I think it is wonderfully executed with a pretty basic overlying story with real depth to it. So you got this, basic story of a kid that's misplaced in her world, goes into a fantasy world that she's been dreaming about for years, meets this witch character. You have the standard trope of like the mentor who's a magical mentor that's going to lead them through this hero's journey. All of that we who've been reading fantasy forever have become very accustomed to, but this show adds a lot of like irreverent comedy to it. The fantasy world that she's thrust into it isn't exactly what she wanted. It's strange, it's wacky, it's unpleasant in a lot of ways. The mentor wizard character is a con artist, which I love. I absolutely love just diving into that of like, your Gandalf is just like a swindler. It's this back alley like witch salesman who's pawning things. I think that's just a blast, and I love the little sidekick like the king, who has this fantasy of being more powerful than he is, but he's not. I think it is, it's really a bare bones plot that has a lot of depth to it through the characterizations, through the dialogue, and through the irreverent comedy. It's got a lot of good messages for kids that are watching this on Disney Channel of, you might not fit in, but you're going to find your place, because eventually everybody does. And I think we are a group that can speak to that. Eventually you find your people. And when you do, you got to stick with them, and I think that's what this show teaches.
Yeah, you kind of hit it on the head early on, and I don't really have to expand on it a whole lot more. But there's really nothing new about this show, and that's the problem with it. Everything about it, and we talked about this in our Disturbia episode. But it's very paint by the numbers. It's classic fantasy, like literally, character doesn't fit in. Character goes to the wild, finds crazy person in the wild who teaches them to find out who they really are and find the power within themselves. It's like every fantasy story that takes place in a magical school ever. And there's really not a whole lot of new stuff that it brings to the table. I think it does a pretty good job overall of like writing a pretty fun story and introducing a new generation to these tropes and stuff. But for somebody who's already seen them like a million times, then I don't really need them again, and I don't see the Owl House breaking down any like new walls for me. I guess other than the fact that it has like a female presence in it that is very strong, majority of characters are female. That's kind of a breath of fresh air. But aside from that, it's basically taking the same tried and true tropes, tried and true plots. It's got a very YA tone, so that means it has really low stakes. And I just don't find it all that compelling. I'm not a big fan of YA for that reason. I get a little bored with like you always know, at the end they're gonna give us the little moral of the story, and they're gonna spell it out for you, and then you're gonna, because you're trying to teach kids these lessons, and in a lot of ways, I think it's a show that wanted to be a show for adults, and there's some shows that do that really well, like Shrek, but I don't think that this one quite pulls it off. I think it's a little shy of the mark. Yeah. That's what I got to say about it. It's a kid's show. It's a fantasy show. It follows all the formulas, and it doesn't really do a whole lot for me because I've already seen it too many times.
I don't think it does follow all the formulas. I don't think Ada is the mentor, is the Gandalf type character, which for all those listening, I use Gandalf because Tolkien kind of, that's just the one I go to. Anyway. Ada, I think, is that Gandalf wizard mentor type character, but she's also, I've seen that trope played against several times at this point in my life now, where it's like the more like gray morality mentor character doesn't want to accept the pupil, and I think Ada plays against that. She kind of like is a line between. So like, she accepts her new pupil. She accepts, I'm looking up names, Luz. Coming in,
Yeah.
Luz. She accepts Luz coming into her world as her student because she herself is an outcast. And she doesn't like push her away like a lot of the outcast mentor characters I've read do. But at the same time, she's not Gandalf in that she's not this moral exemplar, angelic wizard character. She's like a swindler. She's a crook, a thief. A lot of the time she reminded me of the priest character in Lies of Locke.
Father Chains.
Like Father Chains, who is like, I have a hard line of the life that I lead, and this is what you're getting into. But also, I get it, kid. Like, come on board. You don't have to go back out. And I loved seeing that in a kid's show, because I think a lot of the times in these stories that are built for a YA audience, we get one or the other. You either get the mentor that the kid has to win over, or you get the mentor that is like an angel and is like, follow me and I'm perfect example and just be like me. And you get this new take on that where you're getting an adult character like Father Chains brought into a kid's realm in a digestible and well-written way. So I don't think it's like every trope we've seen with YA fantasy stories. I also don't think YA fantasy stories don't have stakes. I just think the stakes are different. The stakes aren't death. The stakes are lessons. The stakes are growth. Like, are you going to learn from this experience? Which are honestly more realistic stakes to our world. Because you die here, that's it. That's your story. The episodes don't continue.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you believe, we don't know what happens after that chapter. Whereas in TV, we do. We see the rest of everybody's story play out. And I think YA can do that of like, your stakes aren't death. None of your characters are going to die because this is a kid's show. But here's your other stakes. Your stakes are, is this character going to grow? Is this character going to be an idiot this episode and not get what's supposed to get? And I think that the show does that well.
Yeah, I think that is the problem with YA, though, is they set it up like those are the stakes. Like, Luz goes into lots of situations where she could feasibly die. And Ida is always in situation. I mean, they even hint in like the second or third episode where Ida turns into the owl lady for the first time that a character does die. But then they do the YA thing of just being like, oh yeah, this is for kids. That character's fine. Don't worry, the owl spat him back out. He's still totally alive. And they did the same thing with Ada, I felt like. You said she accepts Luz, but I felt like she was just using Luz to her own ends, which is very much to her character. But then she kind of just says at the end of the episode, yeah, okay, you did your quest, so you can hang out for a little bit, knowing full well that Luz can't do magic because she's a human. This is what Ida believes, anyway. And I think she sort of just becomes a mother figure like Magic in the second episode. They don't really justify it, in my opinion. She spends most of episode 1 not even necessarily teaching Luz anything, just sort of using her. And then in episode 2, she's magically like, okay, we're best friends now. And I think YA does that a little too often for my liking.
I think that's in all the case. Like, it's the heart of the first episode's quest is showing her mother figure, because they're going to claim the crown that is the king's, that's going to bring the king back into his full power. And then he gets his crown and it's a Burger King crown. And it's like, oh yeah, this was just like a plastic toy, but like, we're all weird here and we love each other despite our little fantasies that we have. And I think that's exactly like setting up Ida treats
Luz. Drink some more. Fedora Kid. We got Fedora Kid.
Oh, good. That's what you want.
Come on now.
You gotta wear it kind of down over your eye, but it's really hard.
Yeah, it's hard to have that hat tip.
You look like Shia LaBeouf in that one whiskey movie.
How have you guys watched every Shia LaBeouf movie? You're like, Shia LaBeouf's a great actor.
He is.
He's been. We've watched all the Transformer movies. We watched Indiana Jones 5. He was in that.
Wait, does he get
Those are his worst.
Those are his only movies.
Sorry that we don't. Sorry he hasn't been any cyberpunks, Collin.
Yeah, come on, man.
Okay.
That's all there is.
Not like crying. He's a worst.
Honey Boy, Peanut Butter Falcon.
I
Oh
watched.
yeah, Peanut Butter Falcon. Very good.
Fury was great.
That's the Moby Dick.
He was the
of Shia
kid in
LaBeouf movies.
Constantine.
Constantine.
Yeah.
But I mean, that wasn't much of a part.
Constantine.
I mean,
we will talk.
he killed it in that because it was like 3 lines.
Oh, he was like iRobot. Yeah.
Yeah,
He was the
totally.
kid.
What? Yeah, again, another role. He had 3 lines.
Look, he had a lot of lines, and most of them were him being bad at swearing. But we should actually just talk about that when we talk about iRobot. I'm always going to talk about a robot voiced by Alan Tudyk. Come on.
It does need to happen because Alan Tudyk is an absolute G.
Yeah.
And everybody needs to acknowledge that in the entire world.
We also need to make that comparison between Isaac Asimov and whatever they thought they were doing. Anyway.
Okay, carry on. This is our next segment. You may have heard us yelling incoherently about it. It's called Beer of the Week.
Yeah, we are incoherent. It's great.
Special brews hooks us up with these beers every week. Thank you very much, Special Brews, for being our first official sponsor.
Thank you for not making us drink what Travis drinks.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what are you drinking, Travis?
What are you drinking?
Well, once again, it's hard to find craft beers, so this run of episodes, I've actually been drinking pretty good ones.
Nice.
And I crushed the can already for some reason, but
Oh, beans.
Bridger Brewing, which is another beautiful Bozeman, Montana brewery. I'm drinking their Vigilante IPA. And Bridger, the beer is great. The pizza tastes good, but you're rolling the dice on whether or not you're spending the rest of the night on the toilet. So
Okay.
yeah, I've had
Sometimes you gotta take a chance.
But it's good, though.
Wow. Still 4.5 stars.
Okay.
It's good tasting pizza, but sometimes you
Low risk.
just don't like it.
That's the best C- the health department ever gave out.
All right. Well, in the spirit of fantasy, we're drinking an Imperial IPA. That is the justification we came up with before the show. The real reason is this is the other beer that survived the Super Bowl. It doesn't get to survive any longer. So here we go. We got Big Ballard by Redhook, a well-known Redhook Imperial IPA. Thank you, Redhook.
Redhook used to be a Washington brewery, but sadly they sold out to Coors or Budweiser or something and moved to Oregon.
It is Anheuser-Busch, I believe.
Yeah, that one.
It's not Coors, because Columbia did not have Redhook.
Well,
I know that for damn sure.
I do know that for.
I remember one thing from a past job, and that's it.
I remember which beers we had, and I just know we
It
didn't.
definitely
have all the
wasn't in the book.
We didn't have.
It was
this
in
one.
my van.
But I like it. Here it is, Redhook. Thanks.
yeah. Look at
You're
that.
doing it.
Thank you, Red Hook.
Thank you, Redhook.
Oh, no.
Jesus Christ.
And
Work-related
then-
injuries.
Come,
All right.
All right, Trav. You gonna chug that puppy or what?
I'm losing steam. I'm gonna get as far as I can. Here we go.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You can only chug in silence.
Kink.
Imperial.
That one's a little much for me.
There's a lot more like
It's stronger.
than I was expecting.
Yeah. I'm not a big Imperial fan in general. They're just like, can we make IPAs harder to drink?
Sweeter and higher alcohol. How
Yeah.
far'd you get? T-Money.
IPAs are hard to chug.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's
If you're gonna pick a beer that's the worst to chug, that's probably
I don't know. I think some of those stouts.
I don't know. Those usually aren't even
The
carbonated.
Russian, what is
They're
that
heavy.
one? Old Rasputin.
Old
Very
Rasputin.
sweet stouts are hard to chug.
Yeah.
It's like
Or sours. Have you ever tried chugging a sour?
That sounds like a bad move.
yeah,
That's right. Travis loves sours.
I-
But
yeah,
we're going to make sure
Travis
everybody in the
is-
chat sends him all the sours they can.
famously love sours, favorite beers.
Absolutely.
sours.
Well, that was fun, wasn't it?
He will
Blitz?
drink every sour you send him.
Yeah, don't send them.
All right, Collin.
Whoa.
Facts.
What do you got,
Listen.
Collin?
I'm just a fedora kid.
Boy,
I read books
And life is a nightmare.
because I got books for days, milady.
As Simple Plan once said, I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare.
Hey, they knew that it wasn't fair.
Yeah.
So the creator of Owl House was working on DuckTales and Dana Terrace, and she felt she didn't have enough creative freedom and came up with the original ideas for the Owl House and pitched it to various networks and got it on Disney. And for the show, she was inspired by paintings from people like Hieronymus Bosch. And also by the Pokemon franchise.
That makes sense.
Shout out to this guy over here.
That adds up. That totally tracks.
That tracks.
King is just Cubone. It all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a Cubone.
He's totally Cubone.
Yeah.
I mean, who didn't like Cubone, right?
And
Soulless.
she actually had she actually had a friend whose name was Luce, and her friend said she could only call her character that if she was part Dominican. So she said, sure.
Nice.
And that's why the main character is, I guess, Dominican. I feel like they don't really say that in the show, but we know that her mom and her speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And she definitely wanted to make a show that had prominent LGBTQ plus kind of characters and relationships. And the show very much took off, which like got hit hard by the COVID pandemic, and then debatably didn't recover, considering it didn't get renewed. I feel like you know more about this. I mean, I feel like I first learned about the show when they weren't going to get a 4th season.
Yeah, well,
And everyone was like, why?
it's debatable because, like, critically and I'm pretty sure commercially too, the show has been a success for all of its seasons. However, it did get a lot of backlash for spoilers for who's seen far enough to see Luce and Anime. Okay.
You can spoil.
Okay. I assume, well, the show got a lot of backlash from, let's just say dumb people. Because Luce and Andy end up together, and it's adorable, and
I mean, it's still a kid show, so like they're together, and by that you mean they hold hands, I presume.
I don't think I've seen them kiss yet, so...
There you
They
go.
do a little kiss.
Oh, they do a
Little
they do.
kiss on the cheek, for sure.
Yeah,
Wow.
freaking adorable, everyone.
It's adorable.
And so their final season is getting wrapped up in a series of longer episodes rather than, a season of television.
Yeah,
Right on.
Some old bullshit.
the creator, Dana Terrace, has said that, it's not getting canceled because there's anything wrong with the money or anything else. It's just Disney decided they don't want that kind of show anymore.
Yeah.
That's
Disney decided that you can't put the gays on the TV for children because then the children will know that there are gays. And we can't have that.
Yeah.
See, I think Disney's fine with it if it's not an animated.
There's so much wrong with me.
We do not agree with Disney on this, if that
Yeah, we
isn't
do
clear.
disagree. I'm fine with
100%.
kids knowing that there are gays.
Oh my God.
I
Why?
don't think that's Disney's stance, but maybe.
Yeah, I'm going to go on record saying we're not accusing Disney of anything in particular or anything at all. That said,
Not anything explicit.
really sucks that Owl House is on its last season.
Yeah,
Um,
that blows.
but we'll get to that later because that's my thoughts. Jeremy, what other notes do you have?
Oh, yeah, it's notes. We're doing notes.
I think we kind of transitioned into that.
We did. We kind of ended up there. It was organic.
You only have 7 pages of notes.
It might have been seamless if not for this entire part.
Yeah. I like a good seam. That's funny.
Yes, you do. A gaping seam.
Yes. So yes, my first note is that yes, King is definitely not powerful or important. He's not, everyone. Definitely. I don't want to spoil anything for Travis.
Good call. King sucks.
Yeah,
Spoil.
he's just a silly little dinosaur
watch
wolf
it.
thing. That
Cubone.
He's just a silly little Cubone that sounds like Bill Cipher. It's fun. Oh yes, my second note is one thing that I do like about the show. Magic is a psychopath for basically the entire show.
True.
Yeah, I don't like it in fantasy where, especially young adult fantasy and whatever, where like somebody learns magic and like them doing magic is just kind of great for them the whole time. Even though sometimes they'll pretend they have a dark side because they can do magic, but like, no. You're just angsty. I went through puberty once too. It's fine.
We just spent a whole last episode, talking about Fedora kids.
Yeah, hi.
Huh?
What's up?
I don't know what you
No,
mean.
I'm better than them.
Absolutely. You're different than those other fedora kids that don't really wear the fedora.
No,
Yeah.
they don't get it. This is the real fedora.
Yeah, that's...
They're just posers.
Yeah. Do they even have the scarf? Come on.
Is that a sounder scarf?
It is a sounder scarf.
All right. Reppin'.
Yeah.
And
Jeremy,
a Jurassic Park shirt.
You like something you were saying?
Well, I like it when magic is weird and, like, not straightforward, and it'll maybe kill you.
Yeah.
You know? That's why like everybody really started liking Harry Potter movies when Alfonso Cuarón took over and made everything absolutely demented.
Mm-hmm.
You know? That's pretty fun.
It's pretty fun.
It is. What am I doing?
I like how there are just characters that have no explanation. Like, there's a kid, and she just has a giant nose. Like, she's more nose than anything else.
Oh, yeah.
And she's in every episode.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
It's
Don't worry.
magic, bro.
In the background, there's always some weird creature that eats another weird creature. Like,
Constantly.
the weird creature gets eaten by a bigger, weirder creature.
Just walking down the street, something's always getting eaten, killed.
It's
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah, you love to see it. I know I do. One of my notes here is that YA wishes it was this good. It really does. You know? There's... Like, even watching the first 3 episodes, solid first 3 episodes, although I have seen the whole thing, like, you don't really expect the twists and turns that you're going to get from this show. It goes some places.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the places you get, like when spoilers again. Sorry, Travis. When Luz figures out how she can do magic, you knew that was going to happen at some point. But it's an inventive thing that she figured out using the rules of whatever bullshit they're working on. I don't know.
Well said.
Thank you. I really tied it together in that last sentence.
You wrapped it up in a nice little bow.
Jeremy, I'm not going to be surprised by a Disney show like tugging at my heartstrings, animated Disney. As I've watched the entirety of Clone Wars and
Sure.
Clone Wars.
4 episodes.
We might do Clone Wars. Don't reveal your opinion.
Don't spoil it for Pedro.
Pedro will be really upset if you tell him right now how you feel about Clone Wars.
Come on.
Sorry, Pedro. Travis just being a d*** right now.
I used Disney Plus animated series is making me cry.
Not Clone Wars, though, probably.
Yeah, probably not. I assume it's unrelated.
I have a question.
Okay.
Because you brought it up.
What's your question?
Every time all the characters freak out about how cute King is, I don't understand it. Because he is a dirty raccoon that wears a dead animal's skull on his head.
You don't
And
think
every character goes,
He's
he's so cute, I just want to cuddle him!
I wanted to.
I mean,
And I'm
he is
like, he's
pretty
f***ing horrifying!
He is pretty adorable. I want to hug him.
No, he's not. He smells like death. He smells like shit and piss.
You know, so do ferrets, but that doesn't make them less adorable, Colin.
One of my neighbors got a ferret. I'm like, I'm never talking to this person in my life because only wackos have ferrets.
Yeah,
Wow.
like some combination of rat and
This guy.
snake. It's whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Listen, Keen is adorable.
He is.
And I can,
Agreed.
Yeah.
as being somebody who is like helping to raise a corgi, it's even cuter when there's a small thing that thinks it's big.
Absolutely.
That's
See, no. I'm on board for everything about King. He's great, but I just don't. It's like I don't know. It's like your heroine in a film. It could be male or female, and the heartthrob character, and every other character is like, oh my god, he's so hot right now, and then you're like, but he's not though. Like this person is not hot. Why is every character acting like this person is hot?
He's so cute.
He is.
How do you not think that's
Look
cute,
at that little face,
Colin?
little snaggly teeth.
Come on.
It's cute, dude. Cubone's mother f***ing died. That's what I think about. The tragedy that is the
Lavender
Cubone
Town, bro.
Right.
That's when Pokemon gets heavy all of a sudden. You get to Lavender Town and it's like, oh,
This character wears a skull to remind him of his.
God.
But with King, that's just part of his physiology. Guy got the exo skull.
The exo skull.
I mean, Lavender Town, just pet cemetery.
Yeah, it's a pet cemetery.
Yeah,
Totally
it's-
just a whole pet cemetery, isn't it?
Yeah, just
I mean, you guys have already sliced and diced Pokemon.
oh no, we'll
As
get
to-
No, we're
Plot
waiting to
holes.
go to Pokemon. We haven't gone
we
to
have
Pokemon.
not begun to get into Pokemon.
I have neither
another
sliced
episode.
nor diced Pokemon.
I have prodded
On this show.
gingerly.
What? Well, I want to hear. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I'm a lying son of a bitch. I
I
love
knew it.
Owl House. I think Owl House was my idea. It was
Yeah.
me or Jeremy, but I think it was me.
It was you. I was down.
I love this show.
It stinks.
I call it Rick and Morty for kids, because I think that's definitely like the tone and the vibe of it. Even kind of the pacing and everything is very similar. Like there's a lot of high flying fantasy antics, and I'm totally lying about everything. I think I came in a little half cocked, because I've been winning a lot of roles, and I thought I had a pretty good shot to maybe sit down here and just take my high rolls for granted, and I paid for that.
You thought you'd roll that 20.
Yeah, I did. I didn't roll that 20. I rolled 7, and I paid for that, and I have to eat the crow now because
Mistakes were made. The Eagles lost.
yeah,
All right.
We're in the worst timeline.
Wait, Why you gotta-
Birds.
yeah, we're not talking about the birds right now, Colin. Let's
Not talking about
unless it's owls.
it's too soon.
Yeah, we are talking about birds.
We will talk about owls in the
Owl
owl
birds.
house.
Yeah. We're done with the Super Bowl. It's on to the superb owl.
Indeed.
Indeed.
I hate what you did there,
Good.
but I'm gonna
You
move
should.
on. I'm moving on. I think
Feel it.
this show, like Jeremy said, goes to some really awesome, deep levels of thinking and like storytelling for kids, while keeping it all very much YA tone. But they don't talk down to their audience, and I think that's what's the most awesome part of the Owl House. What's that?
I said that too.
Yeah, but I agree with Jeremy.
Like a younger
Yeah.
brother who's taking credit for everything that you said.
I agree with Jeremy, not you.
Yeah, I've seen more. It's fine.
But yeah, I really do think it goes into some really in-depth places, like both of you said. I love episode 1, the Burger King crown. That was so funny. As soon as that was one of those things where, like Jeremy was saying, sometimes it takes 3 episodes to set the tone of a show. That right there was like, boom. This is the show you're gonna get. You're gonna get like epic fantasy fights, beheadings that actually don't lead to death because magic, and you're gonna get like this really big build up to like a MacGuffin type quest, and then it's just a Burger King crown that is like for King's self-esteem. And I'm so about that. It's because the whole message of the show is really like you said. I love how you put that, Travis. We're all a little weird. We're all trying to fit in. It's not as easy in real life as any movie or book makes it look for so many like characters. And I would like to address something too that I really, really like about this. It doesn't do the thing that we talked about in our Disturbia episode where the popular people are automatically evil and should be on the whole time. Amity, who becomes Luz's girlfriend and is an awesome friend character later in the show, starts off being the popular girl. So it's kind of a friends to enemies trope. But I don't know, it didn't feel like that classic trope either to me. It actually felt like the popular kids are kids too. And they don't suck just because they're popular. You know, and that was kind of a nice thing to see.
Everybody's got these layers, man.
And then there's Hootie.
Hootie is so great.
A psychopath.
Yeah, absolute psychopath.
No. Again, I haven't seen all
I love Hootie.
So good.
I haven't seen all of it yet, but I think those kinds of themes are set up automatically. Like the second episode is, or no, the first episode. Yeah, the second episode. No, the first episode is like the prison guard guy, and he's like this evil. And it's like, why does he want Ada? Does he want to put her in jail? And he's like, no, he just wants to go on a date with her.
Yep.
He's just enamored by this woman.
The heart
and
wants
like,
what it wants.
You've escaped me all these times. I really want to like take you out to figure out how, and like maybe we have chemistry. I was like, that is setting the tone for the rest of the show. That like, you know these tropes. We know you know these tropes.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna subvert them just enough for you to have a little fun. And I think I'm like hooked. I haven't gotten as far as you guys, but I'm hooked.
I will say that this show took me full circle because in the first, like, basically there's a mention of the Emperor, who's like the bad guy, the overarching villain, and that's in the first 3 episodes, and then it goes untouched for 15 episodes until they decide to make it the season ender. And I felt like when I went through the first 6 episodes, like I stopped because I was like, this just makes me want Avatar: The Last Airbender. It makes me want Korra. It makes me, which was LGBTQ way before this.
I mean,
and doesn't get credit for it.
Did get there.
And then Adventure Time and Rick and Morty. Like I was like, those other shows did it better. And then after I watched a couple more episodes, then we got back to some of those storylines, and it has, in the middle of the first season, there's several episodes that sort of are the same thing and don't pick up where the other ones left off and are very much the same sort of plot thing. And then closer to the end of the season, they're like, oh yeah, maybe we should tie up some of these things. And then there are several episodes which build on each other the way a show like Avatar: The Last Airbender did, where you can't just watch them out of order because new characters come around, new powers come around, all that sort of thing. But I came full circle, everybody.
Oh, good.
By the time I got to the end of the first season, within the last 5 episodes at the end of the first season, I was like, I'm just a grumpy old man. This is a show for kids. They haven't seen The Last Airbender. They haven't seen Adventure Time. Those shows are now more than 10 years old.
Yep.
So really, this is doing all the cool stuff that I remember from those shows, just in a new way.
I have 2 responses to you, Collin. And 1.
The Simpsons already did it, but that's okay.
No. Response 1, watch Over the Garden Wall. It is an HBO-produced animated kids show that is essentially Dante's Inferno for children, and it is fantastic.
Beautiful.
Two, I think you do have a good point of like, that's just a Disney thing. Like even the Clone Wars, which is kind of what I hold as the pinnacle of Disney animation, has those episodes that's like,
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, how many times do the robots say "Roger, Roger" and like fire off a bunch of dumbs? And it's like, okay, I've seen that joke 5 times already, and I'm only 6 episodes in to season 1 of the show that everybody says is good.
This is what I'm telling you. That's a Disney thing. It's in the midst of all
It is a
of that.
Disney thing.
You get these arcs that are like, and I think from what I'm hearing from all of you, this show's doing the same thing of like, yes, you'll have these filler episodes, which is kind of a stupid term, but anyway, you'll have these episodes that like don't seem to contribute to the overarching plots, and then you'll have ones that you take them in chunks and they are their own stretched out, just fantastic in-depth stories. And I think that's just every animated or even live action series I've watched from Disney kind of has that feeling. Like you can watch 3 and get this really cool, awesome mini movie, and then there's 2 to like give you a little palate cleanser, and that's kind of just Disney's ish.
I'm going to go on record as saying I did not say that or agree with Collin on that. I do not think that. I actually don't hate on the filler episode automatically. Because like you said, kind of a dumb term. And it comes from like shows like Dragon Ball Z, which abused the living Christ out of it. Like, no, we do not need an episode of Yamcha training. We know what Yamcha's gonna do. Okay,
He's gonna
like
get Yamcha. That's what he's gonna do.
He's gonna get Yamcha.
Small interjection. Do you know where a lot of filler episodes come from? Like the reason they happen in anime is because a lot of the times the manga doesn't catch up.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah, totally, yeah.
animes will just have to like keep making storyline until the manga catches up, and then they're like, oh, and then it ties back into this.
Yeah. Otherwise, they do a Full Metal Alchemist and just make up the ending.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Hellbreath.
But that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I think that Owl House is, if it does have an episode that's kind of a filler episode, I think it all still ties in pretty good. It all is relationship building, and it pretty much all paid off for me in season 2 and season 3 for sure.
Yeah. They really only feel like filler when they don't advance the world or the characters or the story.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're moving one of those along, I'm on board.
Because, like, for example, one of the funnest episodes, and this was in Avatar, same literal kind of episode, is like the Hootie episode. Jeremy knows what I'm talking about. There's an episode where Hootie decides to solve everyone's problems. And, of course, it's the classic, like, his solutions at first look really bad, but then end up helping the characters out. But, like, Avatar did a similar thing where it was like the Tales of Ba Sing Se. You know, and that's one of the best episodes of Avatar, in my opinion. I mean, it might be...
You're still gonna cry.
Yeah, it's one of like 3 episodes that genuinely made me cry. And super great. And it does still move the narrative along, because at the end, we have a lead on
But
Appa.
there's 2 problems that Owl House had. Like I said, I came full circle. I came around, you know? But there are at least 3 episodes in a row in the middle of season 1 that are like, you know, part 1, Luce is doing something and wants to learn magic. Ida doesn't let her. Ida says, "Don't you know about the scream monsters?" and then disappears. And then she like runs after her. And then we like learn about that. And then like it all ends up fine in the end. And then it's like next episode. And what it didn't deal with any of those episodes was like, remember how Luce told her mom she was going to summer camp and she lied to her and hasn't said anything to her? We're just not going to touch that for 6 episodes.
She texts her mom almost every night.
No. That comes
just lied to
way
her, right?
later. There's like 5 episodes where there's no mention of that. There's no mention of her mom. No mention of reality. It's literally just plot is Ida goes off and does something crazy, and Luce helps to solve it.
Yeah, I guess one thing I did wonder is...
And And the Owl House is a meaningless title that makes no sense because the Owl House has nothing to do with anything until the end of the first season. Then it matters a lot.
It all comes around. I disagree with that
So that's the
entirely.
thing.
But
There are 5 episodes in the middle of season 1 where nothing is done. They're filler episodes. But I came around.
disagree. Jeremy, what were you going to say?
I disagree, and I disagree to disagree.
I don't care. Go.
Yeah, we see plenty of times in series, Luz is like using her phone and whatever, but how?
Oh,
Yeah, why is her cell phone
boiling
service in
aisles?
Magic World? That was
she,
a good
she
question.
definitely doesn't have any reception, but like, how is she even charging it? Like that's
Magic.
These are good
that's gotta
questions.
be dead in like hours, especially when you have no reception.
And she's TikTok, most likely.
Travis.
Okay,
Yes.
I wanna divert. So if there's more that needs to be said here, I have like a completely unrelated thing that I need to
Need?
I don't think anything needs
I don't
to
think
happen.
need is the right word.
on this show.
We must stay on topic on this show.
Yeah.
Well, here's my diversion. I heard Eva, and I was like, my God, I know that voice. So I went on.
Oh, yeah.
IMDb,
She is the
and I
mom.
looked on Wendy Malick's IMDb page, and I just want to say, Wendy Malick, if you're listening, you've
Gee.
been the voice of my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
like
What was she in? Because I couldn't find anything.
So much.
He's getting there. He's getting there.
I'm getting there. This is the first thing. Like, love our parents. They raised us right. They probably let us watch Seinfeld a little too young.
Could be.
Wendy Malick had a part on Seinfeld, and I was like, I know I've heard this voice from Seinfeld. Went all the way down to the page, found her in Seinfeld, figured out she was also in Frasier. She is fucking. Sorry, I shouldn't swear on the show. She is.
How dare you?
What's his name's wife in
Just
Emperor's
excited.
New Groove.
Yep, she's the mom in
Been
Emperor's
around
New Groove.
forever.
Yeah.
Like, awesome performance.
She's great all the time. She's like in a million things.
But I heard that voice, and I know this woman.
Oh yeah, I knew immediately she was from Emperor's New Groove. I've watched that movie so many times. I was like, oh yeah, that is Pacha's wife
Oh, yeah.
from Emperor's New Groove.
So good.
Awesome.
Pancho.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. Very
No, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I thought for sure it was the actress who voiced Fry's girlfriend Cyclops from Futurama.
No, that's a totally other person.
Absolutely.
That's not Leela.
Leela. I don't know the actress that plays Leela, but I guess I could hear some similar
They're similar.
cadence in there. There's a bit of similarity.
It's like, it sounds kind of like her.
I've seen her in a lot though, and I was like, this is awesome to just like get that reminder.
All right.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of interesting too, because like you said, the voice of our childhood, and now she's gonna be the voice of someone else's childhood, because somebody's favorite show will be Owl House. You know, no question.
Yeah.
If I was a kid, my favorite show would have been Owl House.
Yeah.
It feels like I just had a moment recently of I love those like B-list or like even C-list. I don't think she's C-list. She's B-list,
No.
maybe A-list. But like the actresses and actors that people don't know as well. Like I just watched the
Yeah.
and Ashley Johnson, who is like the voice of Ellie from The Last of Us, is in The Help. And
Oh, yeah.
I like watch this scene, and she's just a side character because she's an
Right.
extra. And she's built her whole career on voice acting, but I know her voice. And she stands up and like says a line in The Help, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's Ashley Johnson!"
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, and she does Critical Role full time now. So, I mean, by far what she gets paid the most for now is Critical Role. And she does it every week.
Yeah.
And then you find out Mark Hamill did the voice of the Joker in the animated Batman from the 90s. And you're like, what? That was Mark Hamill?
And Fire Lord Ozai.
Oh, that's right.
Hamill is Fire Lord Ozai?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Guys,
There are some voice actors who you're like, oh my God, they voiced everything.
we can't forget. Let me find his name.
Most of them are in Critical Role, to be fair.
Mark Hamill?
You keep
Mark Hamill's never been on it.
Well, that's on them.
But Laura Bailey voiced half the characters in Dragon Ball Z.
Laura
Okay.
Bailey is voiced for everybody.
And her husband also voiced a bunch of
Travis
characters in Dragon Ball Z.
Nice. Was she Frieza?
And off to other animes.
Mark Hamill's best voice acting role is Snakebite Scruggs in Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
He did that too?
One of the
What? Wow, Snake.
For the viewers at home, these guys are crazy about Scooby-Doo, and I don't understand why. Eventually we'll do an episode on it. I don't watch.
Yeah, what's your problem?
Why do you hate Joy?
I haven't watched any Scooby-Doo stuff since I turned 21.
Well, that's on you.
Because that's what you do when you mature.
Is it?
Collin.
You
Wow.
have to tell me.
Mature people know about
Change my
Scooby-Doo
mind.
on Zombie Island, but hey, we will when we do the episode.
But Mark
I don't
Hamill
think I
is the
got
one that's my pig mojo. That's Mark Hamill.
That is his pig. Its name is Mojo, and it is pretty epic. I did not know that was Mark Hamill. That's wild. Okay,
Snakebite Scruggs.
good to know.
Transforms into a role.
Absolutely.
Like when Alan Tudyk played that chicken.
Sure didn't think that was Luke Skywalker there with Mojo. Down them swamps. Yep.
Struggling there, Travis?
You doing okay?
How you doing there in Montana, bud?
My phone in, it's almost dead.
Ah, yes.
For the audience, my phone runs my Wi-Fi hotspot that I do this whole podcast.
Ah, that's for us
None of
too.
us
We
knew
didn't
that,
know that
actually.
until just now.
There you go.
The reveals.
Wow.
If it
Spoilers.
dies, I die.
You keep up with those, Pedro's not going to
If
sleep.
it does, I die in real life.
Sorry, Pedro.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You didn't.
We kind of got up no house.
All right.
But
Owl House,
Owl House rocks.
3 beers.
Why, Colin?
Man, you got to put me on the spot, huh?
Well, you jumped up and
Yeah.
held up your hand and wanted to go first.
You leapt into the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fedora kid. Don't you have this written down in your
Lost
little
yourself
notebook somewhere?
Door the first, right onto the spot.
Put Dora first.
Well, first of all, you have to drink something during the opening credits. And I don't mean that in a negative way at all. I mean, when the opening credits run, you're like, oh yeah, baby.
time to
Everybody
party.
get down here. You know, you just got to gather up the household. Yes. And
Yeah.
you're like, yeah. So yes, you gotta slam your drink when that plays.
Okay.
You know, and then you gotta crack open another one for the rest of the show, and then when the end credits roll, you crack another one.
The
And
music
then
is
on to the
great.
next one.
The music is back, yeah.
And
It's very good.
Jeremy.
I don't know. See, because I don't want to get
Although I wouldn't recommend drinking 3 beers every episode and binge
Yeah.
watching
that,
7 episodes like Clay does.
That'll get you real sloppy, and then you'll like.
You know, you can spread those
see
3
it
out.
double by the time some of the
It is like a
animation and the fight
30-minute show.
happens. You don't want that. You wanna. I don't know. I'd go beer every other episode on this one,
Yeah, it sounds good.
or something, frothy and magical.
Yeah, just keep it even.
You should have a alcoholic butterbeer.
Yes.
Just fits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would take like a solid 12 pack and just spread it through the whole season. You know,
Which you would watch in one day.
I watch it, 2-3 days.
Yeah. Someday.
Spread it out.
Hey,
Spread out a 12 pack and have a good time. The show's a hell of a ride and you're gonna have fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
It's good.
I stand by my rating system of the previous time I've watched a kids show on this show. I will drink 0 beers because this is a show for children. Stay sober.
Didn't we all
Okay.
agree that Speed
Shirley
Racer
Temple
was
it
a
is.
kids show? What was your rating for Speed Racer there, bud?
That doesn't.
Why doesn't it count?
Why doesn't...
I think it's a kid's show. I think we all
kid show
can we watch?
agree on that. It is rated PG.
It's PG, man. It's got...
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't.
That doesn't kill anybody.
don't you remember Jay-Z? Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. You know, PG-13, that's numbers.
Yeah.
Like, there's no 13 in this Speed Racer, bro. It's for kids.
Yeah. Although Speed does say one time. That was pretty intense.
That's true. And
Yeah, he was like, get that weak off my track. I'm like, oh, is that from another movie? Like, what's he doing?
Enjoy it from your childlike, sober mind. That's my rating.
See, when I watched Clone Wars, I was like, this is a kid's show. When I watched Owl House, I was like, this is for anybody. This is just a great show.
Collin, we're gonna get into Clone Wars. Just give it a few seasons, okay?
Give it a few seasons.
that's a lot of seasons of commitment.
Time is money. I could be reading Moby Dick.
Oh, no.
So test counts every season. Okay.
I struggled.
I struggled. It becomes one of the best animated series ever. Which we're gonna talk
That
about.
doesn't sound like a selling point.
It's not as good as Owl House.
You did that with Friends, didn't you?
No, Friends, I hate all of it.
But you watched it all. You kept watching it. Season 1. Season 2. Season 3. Season 4.
You have control over
And you said,
your
damn it, I'm
remote.
gonna finish
You
it.
can stop watching whenever you want to.
Jeremy,
Great.
I finish everything I start.
He did watch every season of Supernatural. You have to keep in mind who you're talking to.
Shouldn't.
Even Jeremy could do that.
Yeah.
4 more.
4 more.
You're 4 shy? Wait, how many are there?
Yeah.
16.
Bro, no.
I thought they had like 13.
That's still like.
Oh, that's too many. That's...
And I will finish them. I hate Snow Crash, but I will finish it.
Well, Snow Crash is just the modern Moby Dick, so
Wow.
you know, it's required.
It's a modern version of.
I mean, it's the parable of the
The
sower
ocean sucks. Is it?
for Cyberpunk.
No. No.
Cyberpunk parallel of the sower.
No, it isn't.
It
It is that.
That's here, baby.
It's not that.
So, did it get weirdly horny when I wasn't looking?
Kinda.
Okay.
It's not going to be journaling about Poon.
Well, I don't...
The pooning gets.
I don't think it's the parable of the sower. I don't think it's a Moby Dick either. Maybe if they put a 14-year-old on the ship. You know,
Maybe.
that's what they did in Snow Crash.
Yeah.
She was on that big old ship.
Yeah. Did anybody in Moby Dick plow a dude with a nuke? Did that happen?
Yeah, that was in there.
Okay.
I think we are taking Colin's comparison a little too critically, or, literally. That's not really fair. Basically, Owl House rocks.
Yes.
You should watch it.
That's pretty good.
Even Colin, our resident troll, thinks that Owl House is good. Is that right, Colin? Do you
Is it
disagree
better
with
than
that
Arcane?
title? Do you disagree with the title of Resident Troll?
Resident Troll.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, he's cool with it. He's cool with it. See, only a troll would ask that question that you asked. Like, is it better than Arcade? That's a troll question.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're earning.
I gotta find the boundaries.
Not
Otherwise,
better.
You can
you know
better than
you
call
can.
me a geographer.
It's better than
I
Arcade.
won't, but yeah.
Not better than our.
Better than Arcade.
Whoa.
Because I'll tell you what, one of the hardest things I think to do is write a good kid show.
That's yeah.
That is.
I think that is so much more difficult than writing a good adult show.
Yeah.
You have so much more freedom when you're writing for adults to explore everything however the fuck you want, say whatever you want.
Everybody has an opinion about a kid's show.
Like
Like, you can't show your kids show to
Yeah.
a group of people and be like, you know, I don't know. You could be like, this is a story about people and, you know, who had horrible upbringings and they're fighting against, you know, terrible struggles and stuff. And then you're like, you know, if you were doing that for a kid's show, the same people who would be like, oh yeah, I understand. They'd be like, well, I don't disagree with it. Like, Ida doesn't seem like a good role model, you know.
That's
hard to
Get out of town.
Your stakes are different. Kids show. Like,
Yeah, that was a really good point.
I don't think they are. I think this show is spectacularly good at just being a good show. Like, I never got the sense that it was made for kids when I was watching it.
No, but the stakes are different. That does just because it's made for kids doesn't change. A kids show can't have the like Game of Thrones stakes are not the same as a Young Seven show. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah. Like,
those stakes can
things a lot different.
small, but like, or like we're talking about other animated shows in comparison. Korra, Clone Wars, the stakes change; they get deeper and higher as they go. And the Owl House, I'm sure, does that as well. But like, they're never to the same level as an adult series. Like, I don't expect, like, The Last of Us I'm watching right now. Every new character they meet, I don't expect to live. That's not the case with the Owl House. Like, I don't think, like, oh, Ada's going to meet this person and they're going to kill themselves. Like, no.
Yeah, that is true. They do all have plot armor, for sure.
Yeah, I don't expect Luz to be forced into like a marriage with an abusive older man or something, like George Martin would do. You know,
That's pretty low on the list of things I expect.
But the first couple episodes are so crazy. Like, such insane stuff happens. You're like, I don't know what. Someone might die. I think someone might die this episode.
It's kind of. It is kind
Because they just encounter, like, oh yeah, that's the dragon that eats people when it gets angry, and it's like,
at a
what?
certain point,
Isn't there some sort of larva thing that grows out of something? I don't know. There's just,
constantly.
there's some crazy Adventure Time level absurdity.
I think that's the beauty of television is like we always talk about how I say we always me and Clay always talk about how once you believe that a character can't die, that show's kind of like an adult show loses a little bit of its luster because it's like, oh, everybody's safe. Reincarnation is one of me and Clay's least favorite tropes.
Hate it.
But
Can't break
a
that.
kid show already assumes that. It's like nobody can die. So now we have to creatively figure out how to make things tense. And I think that's really hard, beautiful when it's done right.
Agreed. Avatar was another good example.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they really don't show blood or anything. Obviously, Avatar stays PG. And people do die, a couple people, but not a lot. And you, for the most part, like, you know Sokka's not going to die. You know Katara's not going to die. You know Aang's not going to die. And you pretty much know Zuko's not going to die. You know?
But you talk about Avatar, and Avatar took that trope and flipped it on its head, because what is Aang's main tension is not how do I help from dying, it's how do I stop from killing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
True.
Like, how do I prevent death, which was really cool.
Agreed. Yeah.
So,
Lots of good. There's a few good kid shows out there. I say Owl House has found its way into their ranks as a modern day, really good kid show and has a lot of good messages. I'm excited to see what they do with season 4. I wish they were going to have more, but that's where we're at. And yeah. Thank you, Special Brews. Thank you, Cascade Riders. Thank you, Jeremy and Collin. Thank you, Travis. Thank you, listeners, of course. Thank you, Pedro Pascal.
thank you.
We love you, Pedro. Good night.
Pedro.
Good night, Pedro.
Night, Pedro.
Bye, Pedro.
Sweet dreams.
Jeremy.